She made copies. Okay. That makes sense.
All right, I want to welcome everyone to the Ad Hoc Redistricting Committee meeting November 17th. Thank y'all so much for being here once again. I want to thank, first off, our amazing IT department. As you can see, our setup here tonight, I feel like I'm at a movie, ready for the feature picture to start. Just want to thank y'all for your hard work. This department, along with Ms. Bailey, and the Board of Elections Department, has worked very hard since this committee last met to take the feedback of the community as well as this committee to bring us 3 drafts tonight that we will talk about. As we get started, we'll start with introducing the committee members like we do each time. I'll start to my right at the end and come back this way.
Commissioner Ben Hassan, District 6.
Turn your mic on, please, sir. And just push the button on the right if you don't know.
Right. Yeah. I ain't learned yet. Commissioner Ben Hassan, Commissioner District 6.
Trustee Charlie Hanna, Richmond County School Board of Education, District 2.
Super Commissioner Francine Scott, Richmond County Commissioner.
Sean Franham, District 7 Commissioner and Chair of the Ad Hoc Committee.
Venus Kane, Richmond County School Board, District 9, Vice Chair of the Ad Hoc Committee.
Helen Minshew, District 10 at large, Richmond County Board of Education.
And Alvin Mason, District 4 Commissioner.
Thank you, committee. We also, on our committee, not here yet or tonight, is Mr. Jimmy Atkins from the school board, Representative Brian Prince, Representative Mark Newton, Representative Wayne Howard, and Senator Harold Jones, who are not in the meeting just yet. Before we get started, I wanted, in a point of transparency, and as we move forward as an ad hoc committee, I'm going to call on Attorney McLean for the rules of engagement as far as we have 7 people here, which is a quorum and the minimum quorum that we could have, and talk about as we vote on things or develop a consensus for things, what that entails. Ms. McLean? Hit the right one, the right side. There you go. You're hot.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. That is correct. In order to constitute a quorum, you need 7. If you're voting on matters, that would be a majority of your 7.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Any comments, concerns on the committee? Just want to make sure that that's out there for transparency reasons. All right. Thank you so much, Attorney McLean. Also, Attorney Mr. Pete Fletcher, I think I see you behind that screen. Thank you for being here yet again and all that you've done to help us through this process for sure. All right, committee, moving on to number 2, we've had the transcript sent to us a few days ago for the October 18th and October 25th public hearings. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Scott and Mr. Hanna. All in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. Thank you, committee. You were all given plans as well as sent plans via email in the link that is now live online. Can I get a motion to accept those into the meeting for the 3 plans that you were sent?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Minshew and Mr. Hanna. Ms. Kane has a question before we vote.
So on these 3 plans that we are talking about here, are we talking about just looking at them?
We are, and then it'll be up to the committee how we decide to move forward and talk about whether we're going to wait until the next meeting to really, because in my mind, we have to focus on one and work off one. We can't work off all 3. We're not going to get anywhere. So today, I would hope we'll see as the meeting moves forward if this committee feels like we can go ahead and select one, or we come back as we talk about possibly hosting a meeting on Monday to make that decision and really work deep dive into one of them.
That was going to be my suggestion, that we wait, because I didn't get the map until 4 o'clock yesterday.
Yeah.
So I really didn't have the opportunity to look at all the information that was given to us. And I know I didn't get it till 4 o'clock. Ms. Mitchell or Mr.
Yeah.
Hannah didn't get it till 4 o'clock. So in fairness to us, when we're gonna have to make a decision that's gonna affect the whole community, I think we need to wait till at least Monday. That should give everyone enough time to sit down and dissect the numbers and the map as well, in fairness, not only to us, but to the community.
I totally agree, and it
Is that a
shows
motion?
That's a motion.
got a motion to basically accept the
second it?
maps, and we'll have a meeting on Monday to discuss which map will move forward.
Just a question.
Ms. Minshew?
Mr. Chairman. That's fine. Are we going to go over anything at this meeting as far as just,
everything.
a general review of these
You're,
maps?
Miss Bailey's going to spend 20 to 30 minutes on every map and give you every
Okay.
detail, so you're going to get lots of information. So I agree that like making a decision tonight wouldn't have been proper in my mind anyway, as you want to hear from the citizens as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, so we got a motion.
I'll second that if nobody did.
Okay, Commissioner Hassan?
What do you, what did he say?
When you say here, the citizen at this point, I think it's on the committee at this point. I think we've done our things. We have a full understanding what the community is looking at. I think now it boils down to this committee making decisions moving forward. I think we can't spend a whole lot of time. We got a feel for what they want, but now we got to get to, because all of our districts, personal districts at this point, we got some wrangling and tangling that we're going to be doing around that. So I think the less we have the community involvement at this point, the better off we're going to be. That's just my suggestion.
And I apologize if you think I meant the committee from the standpoint of engagement. It's just that I feel like we represent these people, and at some point they're going to give us their feedback. There's certain neighborhoods that were put back together, certain that are still maybe got split. I mean, that might be a decision that I would make based on how we move forward on how the community feels. I guess that was my.
Yeah, I just didn't want to open it back up to that.
No, we're not opening it back up.
Yeah.
No, they had their chance and opportunity.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Representative Hannah.
Thank you. Ms. Bailey, these discussions, proceedings today, they are recorded. Could you make sure that a link is sent to any members that's not here so we may not have to rehash this, give them time to study what we discussed?
Yes, sir, absolutely. It's being recorded and live streamed, and so, yes, we'll provide all the committee members with a direct link to that recording. It'll also be posted on the redistricting website for the public as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Any other comments before we move forward with the vote? Just want to make sure everyone has heard, feels good about where we're going. All right, so we have a motion to accept the 3 plans as well as discuss on Monday the plan that we will move forward with from Vice Chair Kane and Mr. Commissioner Alvin Mason, correct? Yes. On the second. Yes. All right, all in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, that is unanimous. Thank you, committee. We're now going to turn it over to Ms. Bailey, who provided you with a packet of information based on each plan. And again, I can't stress enough. We appreciate the amount of work that you put into this, of basically deep diving what the community said in these public forums into your presentation, and as we go through them and really show us what we have. And again, thank you so much. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Ms. Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. I would like to take a moment and explain to you the documents that you've been presented today. We do have 3 plans that are out there, and we will go over each plan individually. The protocol for tonight will be a discussion on the plan that I will lead, basically just giving information on where precincts have been split, and we'll talk about which neighborhoods we've been able to reunite and which ones we've not been able to reunite, and so on, based on the public input and their desire for neighborhoods to be reunited. Excuse me, I would ask you to keep in mind as we go through this process that 2 of your primary guiding principles were to protect neighborhoods from being split to the extent you can, and to protect voting precincts from being split to the extent you can. So as staff went through the process of coming up and developing these plans, those were certainly in the most forefront of our mind is adherence to those guiding principles as we went through the process. So you have a packet that represents what we are calling, for simplicity's sake, for our purposes tonight, plans 1, 2, and 3. You also have an addition to that should have been just given you that shows the current data. And what I mean by that, is it's the current district lines as they exist today, but with the new census data applied to it. So that's the one that we started off looking at way back when we first started this process, the one that identified and showed us which districts were over and under the deviation and where we needed to focus on our change. And so with that, we will start off with plan number 1. I would like to take you through each one of the split precincts and show you how they're split. I would also ask if you have any questions as we go through to just make a note of it. I would hope that many of your questions will be answered as we go through the plan. So just make a note of any questions you have, and at the end of the presentation, we'll sit here as long as we need to get those questions answered. Okay, Plan 1. So Plan 1 was drawn with the primary intent of putting the identified neighborhoods back together. And those would be some neighborhoods that were split by the draft district map and some that were split back in 2012. So it was a combination of those that were mentioned through the public portal and through the public hearing as being desirous of being put back together. So we're going to start off, Alex, we'll just go right down the list. Do you have a list of, do you have this? I've got it right here. Yep. Okay, and just for orientation's sake, the monitors that you're looking at there from the dais and the overhead monitors and the ones on the floor are all showing the same thing at this point, which is how the precincts are being divided. Okay? All right. So we're going to start with precinct 308. 308 is over in West Augusta. And precinct 308, it's perfect. In the picture that you see here, the pink area represents District 7, blue is District 3. You can see that bottom left-hand corner in District 7 that's in precinct 706 has been drawn from District 3 into District 7. And just for further orientation, the dark red line that you see going there, that denotes the precinct line. So you can see that that pink square is outside the boundaries of that red line, meaning it has been moved. Are we all all okay with that?
That's 305?
308.
This is, yes, I'm sorry, you can't see it very well. This is precinct 308.
Yes.
And this square here has been moved from 308 into District 7.
Right.
This is Greenhouse
Greenhouse.
Apartments. Yep, okay, we're good? All right, very good. All right, well, next take a look. We'll go down to precinct 310, which is the precinct down by Fort Gordon. Okay, so I'll draw your attention. Is everyone, the committee members, are you with me at precinct 310? Okay. You can see on the bottom corner there's a piece of that is in, a piece of precinct 310 that is in yellow that has been moved to District 4. And down below that, you see the little skinny leg going down there that's in the green area. That portion is a little portion that runs along the Gordon Highway that borders Columbia County and Fort Gordon boundary that has been drawn into District 8. So those two splits are existing coming off of precinct 310. Now the bottom split, the one that's the larger of the two, the split goes along Butler Creek, if you're familiar with that. And there are, in that spot, in that yellow spot that was in District 3, there are 2,543 citizens that reported in the census in that area. So that many people have been moved from 3 to 4 in this plan. All righty, and let's go over and look at precinct 402.
Well, before you
Yes.
do that, can you delve a little further in terms of the?
Can you cut your mic
sorry,
on? Just
Mr.
because I
Chairman.
want. Yeah, that's fine.
Mr. Chairman.
I think it's going to be hard to wait on questions, but
Okay.
yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is. Can you delve a little further in terms of the demographics of that area?
Alex, can you pop them up there? Okay, so we know that the entire area encompasses 2,543 citizens. As far as the ethnic breakdown from within there, I don't have that information readily available, but we can sure get that information for you. That's just the one census block that it's hovering over. Each one of these are going to report separately on the screen, so we can look at each one individually and see them. But to order to get a composite, they all need to be added together to get a composite on the number. But we're making a note right now, and we'll get that information to you. Of course, yes, of course, it's very important.
So that's why we got to have some question, so that when we come back Monday, we won't be asking this question.
No,
so that we'll be further along in the process.
I don't disagree.
Yep.
You good? now?
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
cool. All right.
Okay, so we'll look now at precinct 402. Now, precinct 402 let's see. So precinct 402 is split here. This area represents as part of the Fort Gordon Barracks. So those people were taken out of 402 and put into District 8.
That's the barracks?
It's not all of it, but it is certainly some.
Right. Let's show the population numbers on that, Alex.
Well, that probably is the barracks versus the housing area.
So you've got, let's see, it's 185 people here, another 500 or so that reported here. And it's like a lot of them have zero population.
See, the housing area is that most populated at 1429 here.
Okay.
And you can't even count the barracks because those folks don't vote.
Well, but we have to because they report there for the
That's right.
census, you know.
And school board, I mean, if they're going to school, any of their kids. No, that's the barracks.
Lynn,
Barracks.
Lynn, can you do me a favor? Can you pull this mic over there when you talk, and let's talk into the mic
Yes,
every
I
time?
will.
That way everybody can hear,
I
just in
will.
case people in the
I will.
can't hear.
I
That
will.
way it's
Thank
next
you.
to the.
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Jeff. Perfect.
437, 25. So that was moved into 8. That was previously 4.
That's right. That's exactly right. It takes this area that was previously in 4 and moves it down south to 8. Okay. All right. The next one we'll look at is precinct 406. These are in no particular order other than they are in numerical order by precinct number. So. Okay, now this, is this Plan 1? This is Plan 1, okay. So in this plan, yes, so this particular split follows a power line that runs here. And then we pick up, can we tell what road that is there? Okay, so it runs, okay, it's Old Tobacco Road actually. So it brings a power line, it follows a power line down to Old Tobacco Road and then joins in at Tobacco Road and takes, okay, let's zoom back out. Right. So it takes this part of what was in District 4 and puts it in District 5.
I'm getting chopped up again. Okay, so Saddlebrook and Pebble Creek was no longer 4. Okay, there. All right.
Right. So no split neighborhoods over here, but the dividing line, the precinct line, does go down Morgan Road, but it does take this part of the area on the west side of Morgan Road and moves it from 4 into 5. Okay? All right. Okay. All right, next we're going to look at 502. And there it is. Okay. This area can you zoom out just a little bit? Let me get oriented. Thank you. Right, so this is precinct 502. It's precinct 502 is an oddly shaped precinct that goes from here, cuts through here, and down to this part. What this plan does, it takes this part that was in District 5, and this is Brentwood, Windermere, Green Forest. The dividing line goes down Morgan Road here, and it puts this section into District 4 out of District 5. That's what the dividing line is there. Okay.
So that's just a question. So that's the same road, Morgan Road, where we earlier took Pebble Creek, which was in 4, in Saddlebrook, right there, right?
Yes.
Bring it on down. Took that out of 4, put it in 5, and then we went higher up the street and took it out of 5 and put it in 4.
Correct, but the population numbers are different.
Oh, I'm sure.
yes.
I'm sure that. I'm just trying to figure out what
That
has
is
happened here.
that is correct.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question.
Vice Chair Kane.
How different? Because to me, I would think everything on this side of Dean Bridge would stay in District 5 instead of having 4 jump across the main highway. So if it's not that big of a difference, why not leave that in 4 and keep what was in 5, which really still should be in 4?
Well, I think that's a very good question. And what I would like to do is to continue explaining these changes. And we will get those numbers to you, soon, so you can have those population numbers to look. But
I was going to say, and there's 3 plans. I mean, we're dissecting one.
there are three.
Look at it.
Well, that's what we have to do so that we can know.
Yeah, that is true.
That's exactly what.
But the questions are good, and as far as exactly how many people were affected in each one of these splits, I don't think we have that information available. So what we'll talk about tonight is where the splits actually occurred, and then we'll get the data to you in a form so you can look at it and compare. Okay?
That will better prepare us.
Absolutely.
Make a
Yeah, well, you need
decision,
to, sure,
because
you need to
we'll
know.
how many will actually.
Yes,
Okay.
that's right. Okay, so, and I mean, one question leads to 40 when you start looking at these things, so I get it. I sure do.
I think that's why we started a little earlier, because we figured we.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, yep. All right. Let's look at precinct 509.
That's not going to the 4-2, is it? Oh, there. Yes, it is.
Okay. Now the only change we made here, this is as you all know, this is Woodlake here. And there was some discussion about putting Woodlake back together, reuniting the entire neighborhood back together. We have not figured out a way to do that comes up with a good plan. But what we did do was go in and take this part, see this is Woodlake Road that comes in here. So we took those people that were in District 5 and moved them into District 4. So they are at least with the rest of this part of their neighborhood. So it makes a clean cut there at the creek rather than having them kind of outliers lying out there. So it just neatened that up just a little bit.
Can you show that part coming in the Cross Creek Road? Can they zoom in a little? Because that was Woodlake, and then what about coming up? There's Cross Creek right there.
Right. And it's my understanding that where you live, Ms. Kane, this is Woodlake also.
Right.
Yes. And well, that's because that shows that's where you live.
So.
So that was just an effort to tidy things up a little bit. And while we may not be able to figure out a way to put Woodlake completely back together, we can at least take those few people that were, let's go back over.
That were hanging.
These people here that were a part of District 5, we continue to follow the creek on up and draw those into District 4.
So what you actually did was everything on Wood Lake Road coming in. Is it on one side or both sides of Wood Lake Road?
Well, right now it's on one side, as you know.
So
This puts it together. So you come, once you turn into onto Wood Lake Road, everything on both sides of Wood Lake until you get to the creek is in District 4, and then the creek is a clean dividing line between District 4 and District 5.
And that's better, and I think we'll be okay with that. But the only question I would have in reference to that is, it was all 4 before.
No, this was
before 2012.
Oh,
It
well,
was all 4.
yeah.
So I'm not sure why.
It's
we're having a
110
problem.
people that live in that little area. So
Yeah,
it just seemed, pardon me?
No. I'm saying the Wood
That,
Lake
let's,
was all 4
Alex, if you can zoom out.
at one point.
This part here that we've drawn out of 5 and into 4, it's only 110 people. And it may have been that way in 2012, and we just didn't notice it or didn't, I don't know exactly. Maybe there's a new census block line that gave us the flexibility.
It was all 4 before.
Because it's just so obvious sticking out there. So anyway, that's one little tweak that you're going to find will be consistent among all 3 plans. Okay, all right. Okay, let's now look at precinct 605. And be mindful too as we go through here that the changes, some of them, as I'm talking to you about them, may feel a bit arbitrary to you. I mean, why would you do that and not this? And why would you do that and not this? But when we went through the process, the goal was to put those neighborhoods back together where we could. And once you start moving around, it affects, one thing affects another. And so cumulatively, these changes provided us with balanced districts that achieved most of the goals of reuniting the neighborhoods. So that's kind of was the main focus. Okay, so where are we? 605. All righty. So precinct 605 is Winston Arms, it's Salem West, it's Cadden Woods. I guess that is part of Mount Vernon neighborhood in precinct 605.
Commissioner Son, his
Yes, and so this plan,
Commissioner Stein, can you speak that?
okay, let's close that window, Alex, please.
she's in your district.
All right, I'm looking, let's see, zoom out a little bit, Alex, please.
Trying to understand which
Okay,
part moved it to.
okay, will you please, thank you. Help me find Bobby Jones.
It's right there where the green meets the brown, right there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, so what this plan does, it takes this part of Mura Estates that was in District 6 and moves it to District 2, right along Bobby Jones. That's what this split does. Okay. All right, now let's zoom out, Alex, please. And let's go down to precinct 608. All right, precinct 608. Precinct 608 comes, it's a rather large precinct that comes all the way down, that includes all the way down to South Point Golf Club and below. What we have done in this plan is used Brown Road as a dividing line. So this line that you see winding here is Brown Road. So everything south of Brown Road has gone into District 8, and everything north of Brown Road has stayed in District 6. Okay?
Commissioner Stein?
I'm sorry. I have a question. As you all was putting this map together, do you have access to the demographics as you all was doing? Were you all utilizing that?
Yes, sir.
I mean, because it'd been nice if we have access to that. So as we suggest changes and things next week, that we are better fit to know that it will work and try to reach the threshold what we're trying to reach.
Yes, sir.
to get there.
We're going to get those numbers to you in a report.
Okay.
So you'll have them for each one of the plans, and you then can make an informed decision.
Okay. All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
All righty. Let's look at, we're going back over to Fort Gordon. Excuse the hopping around, but we're going to go to precinct 803. Okay, precinct 803. This change here, this change can go or not go. There are 0 voters in there, but for aesthetics purposes, to make that a clean line, we're suggesting that this little point be moved here to the Gordon Highway, or to the Fort Gordon boundary, whatever that is, to just get rid of that little knob sitting up there. We can leave it like it is. Like I said, there are 0 voters. It was just something that jumped out at us when we were looking, and so you putting the pop numbers up there? Population 0 in there, so it doesn't affect anybody. It just kind of neatens things up a little bit while we're at it. Now, again, we can do it or not do it. It doesn't matter. Okay. Now we're going to go and look at precinct 805. Okay, precinct 805. This is a road called, this is Allen Station Road, I think. Not many voters up in here, but it comes in from Mike Paget, and then you go across, something's not showing here. Is that Highway 56 that's coming down? This is Goshen Road here. What is this?
Highway 56 was on the right at the top.
Wait, is that power line? Yes, okay. So this is a power easement that comes along here. And so if you'll zoom back out one time, please. Okay, so it cuts here, and it puts Country Place subdivision in District 1, and Heather's Glen, and then that 4-H Club Road, all that area that's in that triangle moves from District 8 to District 1. It's Country Place, and it's Heather's Glen. And then part of 4-H Club Road. This part of 4-H Club Road was already in District 1. Everything on this side of the red line was already in District 1. Okay? All righty. Let's look at 807. Okay, 807. This change has the effect or the impact of putting Sand Ridge neighborhood back together. Now, it's not without sacrifice, though, because in order to do it, there are no census blocks down in here. There's nothing we can change it upon. So we would go through Gate 5 Mobile Home Park and also Great Lakes Mobile Home Park here. But it does reunite all of this area, which is very heavily populated, with District 4. And then the people that live below this dividing line here, and this is Ulm Road, I think, here. Yep. And then you can see it separates Great Lakes Mobile Home Park, and I'm not exactly sure where the boundaries are of Gate 5 Mobile Home Park, but I believe it may be what we see here. But the dividing line would go down Wendell Street to Ulm Road over to Lake Michigan, and then over to the precinct line, which is a creek that runs over there. So just something to consider.
Commissioner Hassan.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Betty, you just hit on just what was in my mind. In terms of these census blocks or census tract, how absolute are they to determine to be followed, or there's no hard and fast rule about that?
There is a hard rule about it. We can't split them.
So what did you just mention about Sand Ridge then? What was that you just mentioned about that then?
Sand Ridge, what I mentioned is the area of sand. Just zoom out one time, Alex. This area here, and you know what, would you lift the subdivision names and let's put down the road names over? Okay, so this is Crest Drive, Harwood Drive, which are now currently split. So it takes the District 4 boundary line and moves it over to Deansbridge Road. So it comes off of Crest Drive and Harwood Drive and this creek that runs down through here, moves it over to Deansbridge Road until we get to this point. And at this point, it starts coming across, and then it goes down through, it goes down through Gate 5 Mobile Home Park, and then comes over to Alm Road to Lake Erie and up Michigan. And that's how it ties off right there.
Yeah, but my question was coming from when you said that Sand Ridge was put back together, and you said, but it was not without sacrifice.
Oh, well.
The first thing you mentioned is about the census block. And so you seem in many ways that didn't matter. I don't know whether there's a difference between census blocks or census tract.
Well, there is.
And so you put them together or what have you. So you said it was not without sacrifice. So that's what I'm asking.
Yes. So first of all, the census tract is a bigger area that contains census blocks. And the census blocks are then the smallest unit that we have that we can use to move voters around. We can't go any smaller than that. So this area in the blue that you see right here that I'm circling, that is a census block.
So other words, we can work with the census block. We can
That's
move
right.
them around. We can do that. Okay.
Exactly. Yes. Which is what we've done. So we took these census blocks that are identified here and moved them from District 8 into District 4. Now these citizens down in this area of Precinct 807, nothing changes for them. I mean, they are in District 8 and they will remain in District 8. Okay? All right. Okay, so the sum of that means that as far as the neighborhoods that this group was concerned about and the areas that the public had expressed concern about, just to give a recap, there was some concern by folks in Bearfield subdivision of being moved from District 8 to 6. It keeps that neighborhood in District 8. It does not move it. It puts, let's go up and look at the Somerville area. 307. It puts the Somerville area basically back intact the way it looks right now, with no change. And the same is true for the Forest Hills area. So they are no longer split, they are put back together, which was your one concern that was expressed to be addressed. So that's Forest Hills and Somerville. There was a concern expressed about a split between Green Forest and Butler Manor. So as you all know, Green Forest and Butler Manor are two separate neighborhoods on each side of Morgan Road. This proposed plan takes the district line down Morgan Road, as we saw just a moment ago. So those neighborhoods are not split per se, but they are separated one from the other instead of in the same commission district. That remains in this plan. Quail Hollow was not put back together. We weren't able to figure out how to do that. Sand Hills was not put back together. Sand Ridge, as we talked about, was reunited. We've talked about Somerville and we've talked about Wood Lake, the fact that Wood Lake was not put back together per se, but we did grab that top of Wood Lake that's over on that side of the creek and put it with the neighbors, so the neighbors across the street from each other are at least in the same district.
You cut your mic on, Commissioner Mason.
Can you look at that Quail Hollow for a moment?
Yes. So
Where is that at? Quail Hollow Ridge?
it's come up Tobacco Road.
Right.
Yeah, right here. Yes. So this is, the precinct line that was drawn in 2012, I guess.
Right.
Yes. And that, I don't know how to do anything about that because there's no, it's like we would have to move all of that part of District 5 into District 4, or all of that part of District 4 into District 5 to be able to put Quail Hollow back together again.
Right, and previously it was all in District 4.
Prior to 2012?
Right.
Okay.
And that's the thing, it's like one way in or two,
And,
two way.
that was
Yeah.
one of the sacrifices that, we know and we've talked about this before, but in 2012, District 4 was an area of tremendous growth.
Right.
And we're,
And it was sliced and diced. And
That's
sliced and
exactly.
diced and again. On Tobacco Road, see, now there is nothing else for District 5 on Tobacco Road, period. Tobacco Road is 4, I'm not sure why. Because see, that's Tobacco Road that you get to Quail Hollow from.
Right. This is Tobacco Road here. So everything from Quail Hollow moving east is in District 4, and everything from Quail Hollow to the west and to the north of Tobacco Road.
Oh, that's right,
is
because
in the
we
fifth.
pulled Saddlebrook and Pebble Creek out.
That's right.
At the bottom, and then put 4 back up at the top with Butler Manor and is it Butler Manor?
At Butler Manor and, let's see, pan down?
In Green Forest.
Yes.
Instead. Okay. All right.
Okay?
I just have a quick question.
Yes.
From looking at this, it looks like the biggest hits was in District 4 and 5 in splitting. Can we explain why 4 and 5 was just chopped up? I mean, we've been chopped up pretty bad.
Well, I would say, well, certainly there's nothing deliberate there. We're trying to adhere to the guiding principles, and some of the biggest neighborhoods that we had to move around were in Districts 4 and Districts 5. And I think, I hate to keep harping on District 3, but I think we all understand there's been a lot of growth up there. But District 3 does adjoin both Districts 4 and 5 and 1 and 2. And so as we offload from District 3, they had to go somewhere. And when we move them, and especially if they move south, you have to make adjustments south all the way down. Districts 4 and Districts 5 are right in the middle of the city. So I would say that there are very few changes that would not impact Districts 4 and Districts 5 because they are right in the middle of things. That's my opinion. So, but let's look at the rest of the plans and, duly noted,
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Scott.
Yes. Ms. Bailey,
Yes.
Turn the
back
mic
at,
on. Oh, it's on. I'm sorry.
back at Green Forest and Butler Manor.
Yes, ma'am.
Were they ever, Commissioner Mason, were they in 2010, were they together, ever together?
Yeah, there were 5.
It was 5. And Ms. Bailey, we couldn't do anything to get them back together just because it's separated by Morgan Road?
This particular plan actually divides them by Morgan Road. Currently, they are both in District 5, but this particular plan proposes that the neighborhood to the west, which I think is Green Forest, would move to District 4, and that Butler Manor would stay in District 5. And all of those moves, are to get the deviations where they need to be. So, again, just think and process. Let us get the numbers to you. Look at them. We are certainly open to making any changes that you guys want to make. But what we're doing tonight is providing you with 3 options for you to look at. Now, these first 2, had the primary focus of District Plan 2, which we'll talk about in just a minute, is a lot like Plan 1, except for we weren't comfortable with the deviations in Plan 1, so we tried to tighten up those deviations a little bit. So we'll see a few little tweaks when we go to Plan 2. But District 3 is different even still, and if you've looked at your package, you know that District 3, in Plan 3, the origination of the movement of people out of District 2 is more on the west side of District 3, like we talked about in the previous meeting. Okay, all right. Okay, now the only other thing I want to mention on Plan 1 is there are 2 instances where entire precincts were moved. So let's look at, Alex, let's see, while we're in this area on the map, let's look at precinct 401. There was a discussion about putting Pepperidge neighborhood back together. This plan accomplishes that by moving the entire precinct 401 into District 6. Okay. And so, yes, so this is precinct 607 here. Pepperidge neighborhood, you can see the district line cuts down through Pepperidge neighborhood, and this plan takes these voters along Tobacco Road and Windsor Spring Road and puts them in District 6 as a way of uniting Pepperidge subdivision.
Okay, so
Yes, sir. Commissioner Mason, go ahead.
so you're saying that Cambridge, Ridge Forest, and all that now become 6 as well?
Correct. Everything that was in 401, yes.
District 6?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That whole precinct goes over. Will you lay down the census tracts?
Everywhere, each side.
Okay, so absent doing that, in order to reunite Pepperidge, we would only be splitting other neighborhoods to do it. So again, this is just an option that we've thrown out there.
So you're saying, I want to make sure I understand.
To reunite.
Cambridge, those subdivisions along Tobacco Road,
Yes,
they now moved and they now will vote for someone in District 6?
correct. That's correct. That's what this particular plan proposes.
Oh.
7 of our neighborhoods grown and 6 new ones.
Oh.
So, the committee may come back after looking at it and say, I think we can live with things in Pepperidge like they are. I don't know. So these are things, just thought-provoking things to,
All right.
to think about.
Ms. Minshew?
Yeah, and then just to be clear, this joins Pepperidge community.
That is correct.
Okay.
It does.
You say community, you saying subdivision?
The subdivision.
Yes, all of this area that's shaded in the brown here, this is all Pepperidge neighborhood, and
But it took 3 other subdivisions with it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it took 3 other subdivisions.
The other 2 subdivisions are what's in burgundy color there, right?
And below it.
it's
And then what's the third neighborhood?
okay. Let's
Ridge Forest.
get rid of that. Yeah. So this what's this? This is the precinct line, Alex, that I'm pointing to here. Yes. All right. So this is the boundary line that currently exists between districts 6 and 4. Here,
Yep.
running down through Pepperidge subdivision. So, okay, and let's put the population, the census blocks. So, even if we put all of this part, maybe that would work. If we put this part of it back into 6, then this would have to be our dividing line is along the edge of that census block.
because the way I see it, you're taking Cambridge, which is all on Tobacco Road,
And
and
Ridge
Ridge
Forest.
See
Forest.
what streets.
Well, I work better off of subdivisions, for me.
I'm trying to see if it's going to split a subdivision. Okay, Alex, let's pan up just a little bit. Okay, that's good. All right. So, Commissioner Hassan, this area, Hamden Street, Danvers Avenue, is that in Pepperidge?
No, ma'am, where are you?
There's Monte Carlo, Danvers, Brockdale. This is all Pepperidge. Okay. So, okay, let's zoom out, Alex, please. It's perfect. Okay, so it's possible that we can, if we can find a, will you put those census blocks back down? This whole area up here is an entire census block. It looks like most of this neighborhood is in its own census block, and the folks at White Pine Court as well. So it's possible that we can do something over here that would not make the entire precinct go in. But by doing that, we would need to go search elsewhere for some voters to put into District 6, because if we take with this plan that's here, if we take that out of District 6, then we'll need to find something else to put into District 6. Well, good. I hope it won't be. Yes.
right.
Okay. All right. So, and the other one I want to look at is Precinct 305, Alex. Is going to be way north and
On over to south.
to the west. Okay, this plan, can you zoom out, please? Yeah, I see it, but it's not in District 7 on this plan. So just mark through that on your printout.
It's on the map.
It is, but it's still in District 3. It didn't move. In this particular plan, it did not move. It moves in a different version of the plan, but not in this one.
Okay.
Okay?
Any other questions on map 1 before we move to map 2?
And I would remind you too, if I could have you look at one thing with me. On the report that you have, one of the stat reports, if you'll just look at one of the stat reports, it doesn't matter which one, but you can look at the deviation column there. And the deviation column is going to be the fourth one over from the left on the report that looks like this.
Which one is it? Can you hold it?
Either one. Okay. For our purposes right now, either one. Okay, so I wanted to show you the deviations here. You can see, you'll remember at the last meeting, the committee adopted a rule that they wanted to keep the deviation no more than 5%. So no higher than plus 2% or minus, or it's 2.5% or minus 2.5%. And so the deviation columns on here show District 1 coming in at minus 1.152, District 2 coming in at minus 1.31, District 3 over 2.47, District 4 at 0.07 positive, District 5 at plus 0.22, District 6 at plus 0.64, District 7 at plus 0.10, and District 8 at minus 6.7. So those deviations on this plan are within the guidelines that this committee set at its last meeting. When staff looked at this, in an effort to get those deviation numbers down just a little bit, we took this Plan 1 and tweaked it a little bit. So that's what we'd like to do next, is show you Plan 2, which is a lot like this plan, but it does make some subtle changes here and there to get those deviations down a little bit lower. So if we can If it suits the committee, we'll change our focus and move on to Plan 2.
I do have one question though, Ms. Bailey.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hassan, go ahead.
Yeah. You have a second deviation right behind that one. Is it in red, second deviation? And on District 3 in particular here, it has, the
Can you talk into the mic so we can?
I'm sorry. The deviations almost equal. If it's the same map, how do deviations vary that way?
I'm not sure I understand.
You have a second deviation. You have here the one you just went over, and right behind that one is another one. What's the difference between those two?
The difference is the report, the second, one of the reports focuses primarily on voting age population. If you look at the columns, you'll see most of them are labeled with 18 plus. And the second report, I believe it will be the second one in your stack, it does have some voting age population on it, but it also has the, we'll say, total population on there as well. So you can look at the second one and see the percentages of non-Hispanic white, non-Hispanic black as a total rather than just those that are over 18.
Okay, so my question would be, and I'm gonna move on from there. My question would be, but as most of us, being elected officials, when we look at it based on demographics, based on people that are able to vote. So how do we get back to those points moving forward, such as what District 3 looks like for the most part? Which one should we consider in what we're doing?
Well, I think you can certainly.
I guess the answer will be a little bit of both, right?
I do believe believe that's correct. I think your primary number is the basic census number, because that is the main number that will, that's the measure for your deviation. But certainly voting age population can and probably arguably should be taken into consideration as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question. To me, that's kind of contradictory, because if we have to go by the census numbers, period, how do you take and say because you got too many voters 18 to 25 that you take them out, or they need to go somewhere else? So your primary focus has to be on what the census numbers are for that district. You can't pluck out certain age groups.
I couldn't agree with you more. But you can also look at the voting age population as a factor in helping you make your decision on that. But your primary decision maker is the deviation based on the total population.
Okay. Any other questions on map 1 before we move forward? All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Bayless.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Plan 2. Okay, Plan 2. Plan 2 does much of the same things that we saw in Plan 1, and here are a few things that we did to try and balance out that deviation difference. Alex, this is Plan 2? Thank you. All right, let's go over and look at Precinct 115. At our last meeting, there was a desire to do something about this leg that was sticking down from District 1 into District 8. This is another thing that is fairly well aesthetic in nature. There aren't but, I think, 14 people that live in this part of the leg, but we can bring the line up from here to Allen Station Road, and it just makes for a neater line going across the bottom there. So that's something that you can do or not do. It doesn't have a huge overall effect. It just makes it a little neater along that border. Okay, let's look, while we're in the area, let's look at Precinct 604. All right, this is Mike Paget Highway here. This plan takes the part to the east of Mike Paget Highway that's in 604 and moves it from 6 to 1. Okay? And again, we're going to provide those population numbers to you, but you can see here you've got It's 70 people there that are affected by that change. And just keep in mind that these little tweaks that we did were done in an effort to bring those deviations down from out of the plus or minus ones and twos down to a lower number. Okay? All right. And let's look up, this is all the way up to precinct 702. So we're heading over to Berkman Road area. Here. This area, this little point that you see here, this is the condominiums that are over on Berkman's Road. This is Yorkshire and Coventry Road, the condominium that sits up on the hill, the apartment complex here. This area, we're proposing we move from District 7 into District 1. So it would adjoin the rest of District 1 as it goes around. And this is 145 people that we would move from 7 to 1. The boundary line, this is the Augusta National boundary line here and Berkman's Road. So it's a nice, clean scoop that doesn't affect a neighborhood or anything, and it moves the entire complex into District 1. So they would then be in the same area as Middleton Court and Willow Creek and the subdivisions that are further out Berkman's Road going towards Surrey Center, say, down Berkman's Road. Other than that, the changes that were in Plan 1 are the same as are in Plan 2. The status is on the neighborhoods that Bearfield remains in 8, Forest Hills is united, Green Forest and Butler Manor are still separated by Morgan Road, Pepperidge is united in the same way by moving 401 into the 6th. Sand Hills is not united. Sand Ridge is united in the same way that it was in Plan 1. Somerville is united. Woodlake is united in that first section that is on the east side of the creek as you go down through the neighborhood.
Question.
Yes.
So when you see on there that Green Forest and Butler Manor separated by Morgan Road, which was the same as on Plan 1, is that, so you're saying separated by Morgan Road, but they're in what district?
The same. So Butler Manor was in 4 and Green Forest was in 5. Yes, it's the same.
As the previous one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's the same. Now let's look at precinct 305. Alex, please. Okay, this is the one that moves precinct 305. So this area that's outlined here, just to give you a point of reference, we have Walton Way, Camellia Road, Wheeler Road, Walton Way Extension. So all those neighborhoods that are in that area would move from District 3 to District 7. Okay. So this whole area would move from 3 to 7.
So question.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to digress and go back for a moment, because on Plan 1, I thought I saw 305 going to 7, but I didn't see it on the map.
Yes, that was a mistake. That's a typo on your form. So just mark that off of Plan 1.
Like
It did
so
it.
none of the numbers were included in on that
No, sir.
or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, that was Miss Bailey's bad fingers typing the wrong thing.
If that's all you've done in all these years, it's been wonderful.
So it scoops up that whole precinct as a whole, very clearly defined by those 4 areas, and moves it out of 3 and into 7.
We're on map 2. We're about to move. And Miss Bailey, this is a good point for people in attendance. Like everything that we're doing is online currently.
Yes, it is. It's on the redistricting website, the maps, it's all on the interactive page, the stats that we're talking about, everything is out there for public view.
Great.
Now, just as a recap, let's talk about deviation just a little bit. This plan, Plan 2, brings District 1 to minus 9.8%, District 2 to minus 3.1%, District 3 to plus 0.48%, District 4 to plus 0.01%, District 5 to plus 0.22%, District 6 to plus 0.69%, District 7 to plus 1.53%, and District 8 to minus 0.65%. So a little bit tighter than they were in Plan 1. That we don't have anything in the twos.
All right.
I tell you, it's tricky to get these neighborhoods back together and keep the deviation, that's for sure.
Is there any other questions about Plan 2 before we move on to Plan 3? All right. Thank you, Ms. Bailey.
You're welcome. Okay. Plan 3? Okay. All right. Now, one thing about Plan 3, this plan was drawn with a little more emphasis on the west side of District 3 and the majority of the motion in District 3 coming from that area, moving south. So the precincts that are split in here, let's first look at the Somerville area. Okay, there we go. Precincts 304 and 204 are split by this plan. The split is along Central Avenue. So for precinct 304, it takes a split from Wrightsboro, the existing precinct line from Wrightsboro, and brings it up to Central Avenue. And for precinct 204, it is a new dividing line along Central Avenue. Any questions on that?
Ms. Bailey, can I see the population? Could you?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So, again, all of these are individual census blocks. So unless you're a better math whiz than I am, it's hard to get a total, but we can get them for you. It just takes a little bit of work to do it. And that's a fairly densely populated area, so there are lots of census blocks in there. Just pan up just a little bit. I'm sorry. There we go. Keep going. Okay, that's good. So looking over here, I don't know, it looks like 150 or so people in this part of 304. And let's see, I'm losing myself here. Is Stovall Street a precinct divider there? I can't tell with those. Okay. So it would be all of this area here that would move from precinct 204. Or will you go make it out further away? There we go. Yes. So it brings the boundary line of 204 from this part was in District 3, and it moved it into District 2, and the same with this part of 304. So 204. Right. Yes. So it brings that part of 204 into 3, and this part of into 2, and this part of 304 into 2 as well. I can't tell you how many people there are. It gets crazy when you look at all those numbers. So, excuse my fumbling a little bit. Oh, good. Brilliant. Fantastic. Okay. Next, let's look at precinct 307 here. And so 307, the former boundary of it went through Somerville and went down to Metcalf Street as the precinct dividing line. And so we've moved that district line up to Hurd Avenue and put from Hurd Avenue to Metcalf into District 1. So out of 3 into 1. Okay. Let's look at 502. This map keeps Butler Manor and Green Forest in the same district, but they move from 5 to 4. So here's the Morgan Road dividing line here, and we've taken the precinct line or the district line, and it comes down the creek here. So everything on the Fort Gordon side of the creek would move to District 4 in this plan. That's correct.
But at the same time, Saddlebrook, as you come down, it's still, that's 5.
No, this is 4. Yellow is 4.
But it looks like all of Wood Lake is 509.
Let's see. Yes. Yes. Now, I would suggest if we end up working off of Plan 2, that one of the considerations the group think about is roping in that same little hook up above the Windsor Spring entrance into Wood Lake on Wood Lake Drive. You know, we go in and get those 110 people that are here on the other side of Wood Lake Road and bring them in. This map does not show that, nor do the statistics reflect it. But as we move forward, if we're going to work off this one, that's something that we should consider. With it only being 110 people, it could possibly work out. 3, yes, sir. Okay. Let's look at, let's move to the 6th district. And we're going to look at 603. 603 is the Green Meadows, and some of the Alleluia community is there in 603. This plan splits precinct 603 along Richmond Hill Road. So everything on the east side of Richmond Hill Road stays in 6. Everything on the west side goes to 5 down Richmond Hill Road. So that would include, the move would involve Green Meadows and the area up around Augusta Tech, this Lumpkin Park, Fleming Heights, that area would move from 6 to 5. Okay, we got that?
Commissioner Son?
Yeah. Well, it's the Alleluia community. It's kind of split on both sides of Richmond Hill Road. Is that an accurate statement? So it's on the Butler side of Richmond Hill Road?
I think they moved to 5.
It's between Augusta Tech Drive and Richmond Hill Road.
Okay, so that moves to District 5. That would move to District 5 in this version of this plan. From Richmond Hill Road all the way to Deansbridge Road, leaves District 6 and moves to District 5.
So you just moved the Alleluia community out of District 6, is what you're saying?
Yes. Yes. Now, I was thinking that the Alleluia community extended on the other side of Richmond Hill Road down towards Peach Orchard Road as well, but I may be incorrect.
It stops at Peach Orchard Road, but the school is at the corner of Lumpkin Road.
It's correct. That's right.
The school is there.
That's right. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's look at 605. Okay. Okay. It's split along Peach Orchard Road, 605. So this area, the area that includes on this side, yes, okay. The area, Valley Forge, Caddenwood, Salem West, Lenox Park, Winston Arms, that part of 605 moves from 6 to 5. So it's everything from Peach Orchard Road that was in 605, everything from Peach Orchard Road to the west would move from 6 to 5. And that would leave in 605, it would leave Young Forest, Mura Estates, Silvercrest, that part of precinct 605. 605 kind of, it's a big one. Covers a lot of space. Any questions about that? Yes.
Where you see Sutton, there's a Sutton Place,
Yes.
all that's gonna move, that little chunk there is moving down to 5.
The whole gold area, yes, it moves from 6 to 5.
Why wouldn't you keep it, since that Sutton Place is up there mostly in the other color, why wouldn't you just leave it there?
This is an existing precinct line right here. Even though it's we're proposing moving it, in this plan proposes moving it from District 6 to District 5, we did follow an existing precinct line that was a dividing line between, what precinct is that? 603 and 605.
Because see, it just looks weird because you have that one gold piece just sticking up there.
Sure,
And
so
when
why
you
not
did
just
it,
come right down
use-
Rozier Road if we're
Yes.
gonna do it there? Yep. The only reason that I can think of that jumps right to my mind is that it would split a precinct, and we were trying to avoid that where we could. But, you know, we're slicing and dicing as we go, so, yeah. Yep. All right, now let's go look at precinct 608. Down south. And this one is split along McDade Road. So in this version, everything to the north of McDade Road stays in District 6, and everything to the south of McDade Road moves to District 8. Okay, so this was all 608 here. This part would remain in District 6, and this part would go to District 8. Okay. Neighborhoods. Bearfield remains in 8. Forest Hills is reunited. Green Forest, Butler Manor, united. Pepperidge is put back together in the same way that we talked about in Plans 1 and 2, in that precinct 401 moves into District 6. Quail Hollow, still separated. Sand Hill, still separated. Sand Ridge, still separated. Somerville is basically reunited, with the exception of those couple of blocks between Central and Wrightsboro that we identified as moving to District 2. And Woodlake, again, we've talked about that little nook up at the top that we could easily bring in if it's the will of the committee. Now, let's talk about what whole precincts are moved in this plan. We've talked about splits and neighborhoods. Let's look at the whole precincts. Back up to 305. It's that same precinct that we looked at that's bound by, this one that's bound by Wheeler Road, Walton Way, and Camellia Road. This plan also moves that out of 7 and into 3, backwards. Wait, out of 3 and into 7, yes. Okay, let's, we have talked about 401, but let's look at it again. Let's go down to 401 at the Pepperidge area. And the same concept. Precinct 401 moves into the 6th district in an effort at reuniting Pepperidge. Alex, I apologize. I'm taking you all over the place. Let's head back up towards the city, the District 2. There we go. Why is it pink? I don't know. But District 2 in this plan goes to, Precinct 201 goes to District 1, the whole precinct. And that precinct is bound by Cook Road, Olive Road. Let's see if we can get a street name up here on this part of the neighborhood. Looks like it goes along the backside of Albion Acres and then down to Kennedy Drive. Nope, down to, it's the entire existing precinct 201. Will you lift up the subdivision layer, please? There we go. And let's put the, yep, okay. So there we are. All of Precinct 201 moves into to the first district under this plan. Okay, looking at 309 here. This is the precinct that votes at Sharon Baptist Church on Barton Chapel Road. This plan takes that entire precinct and moves it into District 5. That precinct moves from 3 to 5 in its entirety. Remember, we said that the focus of this plan was to focus more on that western end of District 3 as we start shifting people. So that 309 was moved into District 5. Yes, sir.
I know that, and they say, they say figures don't lie, but liars figure. Shit. I'm trying to figure out, that's almost amazing in that if you move District 5 so deep into taking 6 in many ways, and then you come back and we take 309 and put it into 5. I think I'll say some of my comments to when we get ready to vote on some of this, because maybe we're putting ourselves really at a disadvantage in trying to accommodate this. I think we have to give us a lot of information to work on, because we're headed. Mr. Chairman, I don't want to get ahead of you, but we may not be taking any of these maps and start a conversation with. And I'm going to leave that alone for right now. I don't see how. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Next. Let's leave it right there. Alex, if you'll make the map go up. Do you call that pan down or pan up? All right, there, just make it move up. There we go. This plan also takes Precinct 404 and moves it into 6 as well. 404. Let's zoom in there. That is, it's like there's part of Wood Lake Road, it's Quail Hollow, it's Spanish Trace. It's the other part of Wood Lake, that Stafford Drive. Mm-hmm. Okay, this plan also, and let's zoom out a little bit, Alex, please. This plan also, let's see, let's zoom in to get the precinct numbers up there. Yeah, I see that one. I'm looking for 509 right now. Nope, 509. Oh, is it 509? Yeah, 509, which is here. I'm missing the label on it. There we go. Well, okay. This plan takes all of Precinct 509 and moves it into District 4. Okay? Well, it's where you live. That's your dot right there. Uh-huh. That's right. That's the other side of Woodlake. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes the whole thing and moves it into 5, and it moves 404 into 6. So it's just a shift there in that whole region. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Alex, let's make the map go up. 509. Yes. Yes.
Now you're being 4.
Uh-huh. That's exactly right. That's exactly what this does. It moves that whole precinct out of 5 and into 4.
But so that's taking all of Woodlake and putting Woodlake back together.
No, it doesn't, because it's taken the part that's in the 4th district and putting it into 6.
So you just totally split up all of District 4 and my subdivision. You just totally took it, which is 4 and 5, and put it in 5 and 6.
Correct. That's what this plan does. That is correct. And then if we can move over to the east, we're looking for precinct 114. Now 114 is Apple Valley. That one, yes. So this is Apple Valley, and this plan takes Apple Valley out of 1 and moves it into 6. So Apple Valley in this plan goes from 1 to 6. Okay, y'all get that? Okay. And then let's go back over to 809, Alex. Okay, so 809 is the area that's Willis Foreman Road, Walton's Trail, Davis Mill, those areas. It moves that whole section out of District 8 and into District 4. So this is Willis Foreman Road here. And yeah, Willis Foreman all the way up. So this is Davis Mill, Walton's Trail, those neighborhoods that are it's part of the people that vote at Diamond Lakes.
Well, that actually was 4 previously.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear it. That's right. Okay, so it takes that and moves it from 8 to 4. And that's it.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Lynn? Okay.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
It's a lot of moving going on. Now, before we completely close, let's talk about our deviations with this particular plan. So our deviations with this plan, everything is under 1%. Excuse me, District 4 is minus 1.01%. But starting at the top, District 1 is plus 0.39. District 2 is plus 0.63. District 3 is plus 0.22. District 4 is minus 0.01. District 5 is minus 0.21. District 6 is plus 0.1. District 7 is plus 0.4. And District 8 is minus 0.53. So those are very good deviations. Lots of changes to get there, obviously, but very good deviations.
Okay. All right. So we've talked about 3 different plans. We talked about the fact that we were going to kind of stew on those plans. and kind of come back on Monday at 5 o'clock right here again to dive deeper into them. I guess on Monday we'll discuss whether one of these three plans is the starting point to change, manipulate, make it the way we feel like we can live with based on one of the three plans that we have been given. If not, Ms. Bailey, the ability to change on the fly on Monday from the standpoint of Pepperidge, it seems like was a hot button neighborhood that was discussed of dividing it back to where it was.
Yes.
And then seeing how that division kind of changes things around. We'll have the ability to do that
Absolutely.
on Monday.
Yes, we could. If you wanted to, as an exercise, we could look at that little hook up at the top of Woodlake, the little 110 voters. Why don't we just go ahead and loop that in right now, and let's just get a
that's
feel
good.
for
I'd
how
like
it
to see
looks
it.
and how it works, and we can look at the stats and see how they've changed with making that little small
Sounds great.
small correction. So you're going to go to precinct 404. 3. 3's the only one that didn't have it made already. Yeah.
And can you explain on the screen what we're looking at, kind of the differences in what's on the screen versus what was on our screens before?
I can.
And then if we can change our screens if possible too, that'd be great.
So the view that you're going to see on your screens will remain the web app. Okay. The view on this screen is going to change to the ESRI software that does the redistricting. So on the big screens is where you're going to be looking to see this change happen. Okay, so this is the ESRI software here. Okie doke. So we're going to go to, you're just about on it. Come over a little further there, right around in there. Okay. Isn't that it? Mm-hmm. Is that 110 people? We're going to check those numbers and make sure that okay, so that's the 110 people. And you'll remember this is Windsor Spring Road. This is Woodlake Drive coming in. So we're going to take this part and move it into the brown area, which is the District 5 area. So we'll move it out of yellow, District 4, and into brown, District 5. 6, excuse me. Pardon me. Thank you. Remember in District 3, we took 401. In Plan 3, we took Precinct 404 and moved it into District 6. That's the version that we're looking at right now. So in this version, the Precinct 404 has been moved into District 6. So we're going to grab this little piece at the top of Woodlake and also move it into District 6. So under this plan, Woodlake Drive wouldn't split that neighborhood. Done? Okay, so that move was made. And now if we can see the stats, Alex, just to show you what you can expect to see when we start working next week. So we have just made a change between District 4 and District 6.
And this is Plan 3?
This Plan 3, yes, sir.
If you look at the deviations, they'll be different than what's on the screen.
That's right. And so on District 4 is now minus 1.44 instead of 1.01. And District 6, instead of being plus 0.1, is now plus 5.3 by moving those 110 voters in there. So I think this clearly demonstrates the impact that just moving 100 voters has. It changed the deviations by that much. So, there's it's tricky to try to strike that balance. So,
All right, I appreciate that.
yes, sir.
Any other comments before we adjourn for the night? Commissioner Son?
Yes, Mr. Bailey, is it possible to get us the original numbers that the team used for each one of these, the movement that was made? I mean, it don't have to be for all three maps. It's just the numbers and each one of those things that you start beginning to move them. The original numbers. Get us something in terms of the census tracts and the blocks. The current 2020, I guess the census data that we just got, that we're working from. And also I like the population in 401 that was in Pepper Ridge. That's on a personal note there.
Yes, sir. I believe we can do that.
Anyone else have any further thoughts? Again, I want to thank the IT team for everything they've done. It's amazing. Great start. The attorneys, thank y'all for being here, and the committee as well.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
Just do have one further thought that just want committee to take note of. In 2010, 2011, as Lynn has mentioned earlier, District 4 was sliced, diced, chopped up, and tossed around, right? And so just as an example, on this last Plan 3, District 4 would lose Pepperidge, Ridge Forest Subdivision, Cambridge Subdivision, Spanish Trace, Pebble Creek, and Saddlebrook. So when I hear people talking about they don't want a neighborhood split, and we talk about fairness, take that in mind and keep that in mind for all the other districts that are out there and have some concerns. Not one subdivision, 7. That's a whole brand new set of voters. The growth wasn't in 4, but that's 7 subdivisions, potentially. Now, we haven't picked that. I'm just saying that as an example for those that will go out and say, hey, keep my neighborhood together, keep my neighborhood together. How about a whole district, trying to keep a district together? That's used to being together, okay? So keep that in mind, 7 subdivisions. There's no other, not one. District 3 did not split a single subdivision. District 7 did not split a subdivision, based on the 3 maps that I'm looking at.
I think there was one split where even though we moved an entire precinct, but by moving precinct 309, and Alex, maybe we can take a quick look at that.
Well, based on the plans that you had placed out here and the ones that you've identified as being split, or, yeah, it just didn't show any. But my point was, just very simply, Lynn, because we're not really debating this tonight, it's just that's just something I want people to take in mind when they're making these considerations, and they're hearing from their constituents, as they should. If we were to look at 7, you imagine what I'd hear? I mean, Plan 3 here, or what I would hear from constituents out in District 4? 7 subdivisions, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 7. Okay, after being chopped up in 2010. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind as we continue this forward, and let's work together to try to do the best that we can do, because none of us are going to get everything that we want or desire. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think anybody should lose 7 subdivisions and get 6 new ones. Thank you.
Anyone else like to say anything before we close it out? All right, appreciate it, Commissioner Mason, for those words, and thank you for committee, and we will see you on Monday at 5 p.m. Thank you.